Habibis, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's another episode of The Balance. I'm Siraj Hashmi.
Dr. Jason Nichols.
Jason, it's been a minute since we hopped on the stream together. I was incredibly run down in the last week. For those who aren't aware, I developed like a massive cold sore on my face. And everyone's like, Siraj, you got herpes. I'm like, I guess I do. And then I found out from my brother-in-law that like 90% of the people, like 90% of the people before they die end up getting herpes simplex virus 1, HSV1, before they die. And that made me feel better because like I have no idea how I got it. Most people get it from like, I was watching Chappelle's show back when it was on the air, and they had that like Sesame Street episode of that Sesame Street sketch, but involving like, STDs. And I got legit scared because the part where it was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to find it because it's it's so stupid. um, yeah, so one of the Habibis is saying HSV1 is distinct from the genital herpes variant, so you're good, which is, I guess, great.
Yeah, I mean, I've known, like, I remember my dad got shingles.
Really?
Yeah. And that's like some form of like herpes is somehow involved in that. I don't know. But I remember my mom being like, yeah, he has, just joking, being like, yeah, your dad has
He got
herpes.
the herp.
But,
uh,
my
Safe
dad,
Minnesota. Safe Minnesota. Thank you for the sub. Here, I'm trying to find that particular bit from Chappelle because do you remember that particular sketch that had one of the what's it called? One of the Muppets on that little Sesame Street was voiced by Snoop Dogg, and then Q-Tip was in there. It was just too good. But he had like every single like STD was anthropomorphized or like turned into basically a Muppet of some sort, and they even had like crabs, if you remember. But
yeah, I think I vaguely remember that.
yeah. Anyways, busy couple of weeks. This week, Electoral College week. It looks like, like I look. For some reason, I don't know if it is over, if it feels over, but it seems to be over. Does it not?
It's over. It's been over. It's freaking annoying. Let's freaking move on. Like, come on, man. This is stupid. You
Yeah.
know, like, it literally like is absurd and stupid. Let's move on. The Electoral College has spoken. The Supreme Court has spoken. The different states have spoken. Their their secretaries of state, many of whom are Republicans, have spoken. Yo, this idea, well, it could be rigged. You've shown your evidence and you don't have any. Yo, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, there are now the next step is like the challenge within the. Oh, well, I don't know why I didn't have the mic closer to me, but here it is. Um, Basically, or essentially, 100%, the next step for the Trump faithful is to contest the results or the certification in the in Congress. And I can't. I don't know if that's gonna like yield the results that they want. First of all, they're not like Republicans won't be in the majority in the House. In the Senate, uh, January 5th is the Georgia Senate runoff. I think right now Democrats are in the lead in both races. You got John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. Um, and January 6th would be when they certify. And Mitch McConnell, what, today finally acknowledged that uh, Joe Biden is the president elect, Kamala Harris is the vice president elect, and he's not fighting it anymore. And I think there are actually a lot of like Trump supporters who are now are now turning on Mitch McConnell, or thinking that he was the same person that he always was, a swamp creature, because he's now acknowledging that the results of the election are final.
Yeah, I mean it's getting like comical. Like it's not even comical, it's getting tiring now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stop. It's over. Donald Trump doesn't even give a shit anymore. Like he's moved on. He's trying to take your money to pay his debts and start his, his next business, which is probably a media company.
Yeah, I mean, you've been predicting it for quite some time, and I credit you for this because you're the one who originally started uh, talking about it, and that is about Trump starting his own media empire, which I think has gone a little bit more mainstream, and I'm tired of people not crediting you for this. Why?
Yeah, no, totally.
No respect. No respect for the doc over here. Which by the way, are you a medical doctor?
No, I've never delivered a baby, so I guess I'm not really a doctor. You know what I mean? Like, I've never delivered a baby, but again, uh, I've been saying this from the beginning. I think people want to go into businesses that they are passionate about, and Donald Trump is passionate about not only television, but he loves cable news.
Right.
And so if he can control the narrative, particularly the narrative about himself and almost by himself, he's going to do that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Getting a comment from Austin over here saying the Wall Street Journal just put out an article calling Jason a fake doctor.
I was surprised.
I mean that look, the article was obviously sexist, particularly the condescending part where the author opened up by calling Dr. Jill Biden kiddo. But I feel like the reaction has just like almost gone so far over the top that it's disproportionate to the crime.
Yeah, I mean, well, he can call her kiddo because he's 83. You know what I'm saying?
You
Like,
think I don't think it's
you're
respectful to call someone else kiddo.
yeah, especially when you're diminishing their accomplishments.
Right.
Like, and you know what it is? It shows you because he was a lecturer at Northwestern.
Right.
Let me be clear. I am a senior lecturer.
Oh wow.
Don't forget the senior.
Senior.
I got promoted, so I outrank him. But at the University of Maryland, and it's obvious that as a lecturer, he was jealous of his colleagues who had doctorates, and he was too lazy to go get one. You know what I mean? Like he could have not easily, because it's not an easy process, but
No.
he could have gone and finished a doctorate in creative writing or whatever the hell he wanted to do it in. He's an essayist.
Right.
And done that, but instead he wants to diminish everyone else's accomplishments and say they don't mean anything, and say, oh well, you can't call yourself doctor because that's pretentious or whatever it is his argument was. I think it's just silly. He looks like a hater,
Yeah.
probably sexist. And and when you're 83, that's not the way to go out, because that's the way. This is the essay for all of the things he's written in his career, and I'm sure some of it is good.
Mm-hmm.
For all of the things written in his career, this is what he'll be remembered for in in 7 years when he dies.
I mean, it might not take that long, obviously. Real quick, are you able to hear like other media coming into your Discord? Do you need to pull up your phone and because I got the Chappelle Show clip right here from Knee High Park.
I think I can hear it.
Okay, let me try playing it. Oh wait, hold on, I muted it. Damn it. Can you hear it?
Look, it's Dangle.
Can you hear anything?
Nah, I can't.
Oh man. And then it just went to shit.
Let me see.
Just pull up on your phone. You can pull up pull up the Twitch. I don't know why it doesn't feed into your audio. It's kind of dumb, but I found one of the Habibis sent the link to the video. We gotta at least watch, just for old time's sake. Steve Ski 76 says, "Wouldn't be a Siraj stream without audio issues." God, I hate that that's becoming basically my reputation. Is I can't do anything without fucking hiccup here and there. Although I think I finally figured out my capture card on the PS5, because I was streaming Cyberpunk 2077 on my PS5 directly from it, and it was because I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong on my actual laptop. And it turns out I just had to flip one switch on the HDCP, and now I got video. But the next part is audio, which I definitely will fuck up. Anyways, can you hear the stream, Jason?
Nah, I don't hear anything.
Oh, I haven't played it yet. Let me try it now.
Oh, okay.
Close enough.
Where are you guys going?
Can you hear it now?
Well, Dangle's not feeling well, so I'm taking him to the doctor.
I can't hear
What's
it.
wrong, Dangle?
Damn it. All right. Well, it's probably too not safe for work anyways. since the actual sketch involves Puppet pulling down his pants in the next second from having sex too much. Anyways, let's see. So a lot of other news happening this week. What did we have? We had a bunch of things going on. The Georgia Senate runoff is kind of heating up because of some of these Biden appointments. We got some news out of South Bend, Indiana, where Mayor Pete Buttigieg is actually going to be nominated as Transportation Secretary, in addition to California Attorney General Xavier Becerra being nominated to HHS Secretary. Also, Nina Turner, who is a longtime Bernie surrogate, is going to be running for Congress to fill Marcia Fudge's seat, who is now, I believe she was nominated for HUD, was she not? Marcia Fudge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's hard.
Yeah, Marcia Fudge was nominated for HUD. She was in 2018. I think, I'm trying to remember if she was, Fudge was actually in the running, I think, for, was it to contest Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House in 2018?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
was that it? And then it
Yep.
came out that one of her friends ended up being a murderer, like domestic violence murderer, and I guess because of her association with him, she stepped away from doing that. So
Well, I didn't know it was that. I thought it was just that Nancy just pulled a power move and
I
people
thought
started.
that was the power move, was sort of shedding a light on that. Was that not? Let's go find out.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that was the reason. I thought Marcia Fudge just realized she wasn't going to win,
Well,
and
that
she didn't
that
really.
too. Yeah. Well, I'm actually kind of surprised that it's taken Nina Turner this long to announce she's running for office. I've always found her to be a pretty powerful player in the progressive wing, and
Right.
a big supporter of Bernie Sanders. So I can imagine. Well, for one, she's probably going to win.
Yeah.
She has sort of that. Not household name recognition, but she has a lot more name recognition than, say, anyone else, even probably more than Marcia Fudge.
Totally.
So, I'm looking through here right now. Oh, yeah, I guess there's stories coming out in terms of opera research. Oh, here's a story from the New York Times. She cut a deal and dropped her speaker challenge. Let's see. Interesting. All right, so I'm looking at. She was one of a number of different Democrats who were going to challenge Pelosi, and then
She was the most viable one, but she
Yeah.
wasn't even.
yeah,
Nobody was gonna. Nancy was going to win that. They all knew it. What she threatened really was kind of a racial divide, and Nancy not having that, CBC, backing that she needs to get stuff done, which really would have hurt everybody and hurt the party and all that. And
Yeah.
I think that they got behind closed doors, and Nancy Pelosi said, "You're not going to win, but what do you want?"
Yeah. I think
To make this an easy process for me. And Nancy's an old Baltimore chick. She's an old, she knows how to play the game.
this is basically The Wire on Capitol Hill.
Right. Yeah, she knows what's up. She's her dynasty in Baltimore is long.
Which is saying something, because she represents a district in San Francisco.
Yeah, but she's part of the D'Alessandro dynasty.
Yeah.
Her father was mayor.
So there's a question here from Karanjo93 saying, "What is Siraj's political leanings?" Some people are saying communist, some say terrorist. And then the one who said communist said same thing, basically, as terrorist. What's interesting is that over the course of us doing this, which has been a lot of fun. Wow, we've been doing this since April. I think I've kind of gone all over the place. People think I'm straight up conservative. A lot of people think I'm a Trump supporter. And then other times people think I'm a huge lib or a huge leftist. And I like to think there's just some things that I think they're good ideas and across the spectrum, but it's all about execution. And right now, I guess I've become more of a critic than I am becoming someone who is about solutions, and maybe that's troubling. I don't know.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the thing that I think is dope about what you do is you find humor in it all. And people, I think most thinking smart people enjoy smart humor about the right and the left.
Yeah. I feel like I could go harder at the right, though. And I feel like I'm slacking on that. But
you could. I think a lot of your fans, though, because they associate you with the Examiner.
Yeah.
Because anytime it's the most annoying thing. Anybody watching this stream, let me just say this. If you have ever done the pen emoji at Siraj, you are lame as fuck.
No, you can't. No, but but it's all about whether it's serious or not.
Yeah, it's like, Siraj.
Yeah, no, it's when people use it seriously.
But whenever you criticize Trump or criticize somebody on the right, some right winger in your comments
always
does like 7 of the
hand emojis.
Hand emojis with the pen, and I'm like, oh, you're the first one who's ever done that to Siraj. Yeah. Holy shit. That is lame. Fuck, bro.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, it is kind of funny. I mean, so by the end of this month, we're gonna finally do a list Hall of Fame, and I imagine it's gonna be the final week of December, because that will be a week in which I basically have nothing going on, which is great. I'm so excited to just not do anything for like the last couple of weeks of December, because this year has been, look, everyone has had a bad 2020. It has been horrible. It has been awful, more awful for some people than others. But I think it's safe to say everybody had just a bad year. These last 2 weeks coming up, I just want everyone to sort of shut the fuck up and just, put all the differences aside. It's all about we're still here. We're still living. We're still able to see another day, and we got a vaccine. Look, we never thought it was possible. There was a lot of red tape that had to be cut, and whether you want to credit the science sector, you want to credit Trump, whether you want to credit, international cooperation, like we got a fucking vaccine. That is something to celebrate.
Definitely.
And I'm actually kind of surprised because there was a story circulating around on I want to say it was initially reported by the Washington Post, but it was initially saying that White House staffers would be among the first wave of people to get the coronavirus vaccine. And then Trump tweeted later on that day saying he actually read the room on this. I'm actually like, this was like in a way really shocking because he's like actually I'm gonna make sure that they're not like first in line for the coronavirus vaccine because
they all already have it.
they already have it. It would be like one or two people that would get the vaccine who didn't have it. Actually, Pence didn't have it, and I think is getting the vaccine. But like everybody else, for the most part, got it. So
like this, like I'm trying to think of who's left that hasn't gotten it. You know what I mean?
I don't know, honestly. Fuzzy chiming in here says, Siraj, stopping in to make sure you let Dr. Nichols know about your dongless frog. It's important. Okay. So this is where we get to the point about Cyberpunk 2077. This game, look, Jason, I know you're not a gamer. If you ever decide to get into video games, let me know. We're going to set you up with a Twitch stream, and then, you're going to fucking take off. But essentially, Cyberpunk 2077 is a video game set in the future in 2077, as I mentioned in the title. If you ever watched the movie Looper with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, it is kind of it gives you a little taste of what that game would look like. Basically, the game in and of itself, it's like you're a hitman in the future, and technology has, obviously taken like a leap in advance in every way, shape, or form. But the crazy thing about this game is that in the very beginning, you get to customize your own character. So Jason, when you get to they literally you get a chance to basically, down to like your actual genitalia, you get to customize that. So like, I'm part, like this is just like a running joke of mine is that that I don't get to tell on Twitter at all because it's way too inappropriate. But my guy is part of the Dick Click, LDC, and this guy's dick is so small it's actually a vagina. But the best part about it is that I customized my character to basically become a gay frog in the mold of Alex Jones. So like this guy is like literally like green tattoos almost all over his face and green hair. It's like a green man bun. Like basically the most hideous character you'll ever lay eyes on. I'll have to find a picture to show you, but this is along the lines of just being it's grotesque. But
so he's like Pepe, but really a man.
Yeah, Pepe the Frog. Yeah, like a gay frog. That's basically a person.
Yeah, well, we used to call him Pepe Yiannopoulos or whatever.
Pepe Yiannopoulos. Let's do it. So that game in and of itself, and this is a very niche topic, but like gamers were very, and I don't know if you follow gaming news at all, but it is one of those areas where like there's a heavy liberal bias in it, and it was so heavy that they were starting to call this game Cyberpunk transphobic because you would be addressed. You could obviously play as a man or a woman, but you could also basically be gender neutral by the fact that like my player is masculine but he has a vagina, and so people would address the character as a man because the gender would be associated with the person's voice. So like if it was a more masculine voice, like a deeper, they would address that person as a he. If it was a higher pitched voice, like a woman, or a female sounding voice, they would be addressed as a woman. And so there there was one website, I think it was Comic Book Resources, saying that this game is transphobic and will lead to violence against the trans community because of how Cyberpunk addresses the issue of gender. And it's not even like deliberate transphobia. It's not like saying like they hate trans people. It's just like the level of different customization is just so off the charts, and people are so gender fluid in this that it just like this. I guess like this is just and again, it's a dystopia. It's not like an actual real world. But if you recall, like in every single like school shooting that's ever happened, or every mass shooting, you see like a weird almost effort from a lot of old conservatives, men and women, saying that video games leads to violence. And so what Comic Book Resources was trying to do was say that because of this transphobia, or this anti-trans, or this like trans insensitive game, it was going to lead to violence against the trans community, which is like an interesting horseshoe theory that like people on the far left and people on the far right are now using this video game trope that video games lead to actual in real life violence.
I mean, that's always been a difficult thing for me. Like the idea, does rap music or heavy metal encourage violence? The video games encourage violence. The movies encourage violence. And that's a tough thing for me to say. I mean, I think our society is violent regardless.
Yeah.
And we're always going to blame technology. So there was some time in the 1920s where there was all kinds of like Tommy gun shootings and St. Valentine's Day massacres. And they were like, it's because of the radio. So
yeah, but it was like obviously a direct result of prohibition.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm saying like people will always blame some form of technology along with it.
Yeah.
There'll be the people that'll say it's the gun. If you didn't have the Tommy gun, everybody should have a 6. If you didn't have an AK-47, or not AK, AR-15.
Yeah.
But there'll also be the people who blame music and all that. And me being into the a big part of the hip hop community, I could say that it had nothing to do with it, but at the same time, when I was young, I was like, like that scene where Bunny Rabbit put his hood up and he listened to Mobb Deep.
Yeah.
It made me feel a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
And times like I'd be riding with my friends in my mom's Taurus, we'd pull up at a party, we'd be listening to, Mobb Deep or whomever. And it's like, if a motherfucker talks to me the wrong way,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get a certain, so
you feel some type of way.
Yeah, you feel some type of way. So I really, I definitely don't think that video games cause violence. I think our society is just violent.
Yeah.
But I can't ignore that media does have an effect on us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
There is a level of desensitization for sure.
Absolutely. So I don't want to sit here and just because I have this bias because I'm involved in it say, oh no, it has no effect.
Well, it's also interesting that, I think over the last 4 years in politics, if you were like a very active observer of politics, or you were a participant in any way, shape, or form, or at least like observing what's happened over the last 4 or 5 years, for a lot of the people who are very, say, appalled by what has happened to, say, our institutions and, say, the Trump presidency, I would say that those are the people who the people who are like the most outraged by things that like may have happened under Trump, but also happened maybe under previous presidents, whether it be Obama or Bush or Clinton. They weren't desensitized to like anything in politics. Like I think you and I, being like very familiar with how politics works, could at least observe things in sort of a calmer lens because we are desensitized to it. And just over time, like people will get desensitized to certain things in politics, things that were probably outrageous, like, you know, 10 years ago aren't outrageous anymore. So say, for example, I mean, like, even just look at things society wise. There's the fact we were just talking about the trans community. Just that in and of itself, like talking about like acceptance of the trans community in our society, like, 15, 20 years ago, we were still debating whether gay people should be allowed to marry. And then 5 years ago, you have a Obergefell v. Hodges, gay people and same-sex couples are allowed to get married, and have unions and basically attain the equal marital rights that come with it. And the Overton window is shifting further to the left on on sort of this acceptance of people who want to express themselves differently or want to be a different person than they are. And you're going to get to the point where, like, as soon as you have more and more trans acceptance, you're going to start to see a budding of, say, more trans conservatives. So it's kind of interesting that, because we've seen actually after Obergefell v. Hodges, you started to see like a rapid increase of gay conservatives and gay Trump supporters. It just naturally happens.
So has there been an increase, or have those people just been pushed to the front? Because
that's a good point. No, that's a very good point. Very good point.
I feel like, and again, this is what offends a lot of people who are African American, Latinos, is that while the conservatives speak against affirmative action, they practice the most insidious element of it. You know what I mean?
Which is part, sort of, you mean like the tokenization?
Yeah, the tokenization, which is, you're gay, speak for us. Yeah. You're black, we'll put you on the Supreme Court. Like all of that kind of stuff. When it's like, you're probably not qualified. Like,
yeah, so, and that also sort of hits at the meritocracy argument that a lot of conservatives sort of harp on, because when you look at and that's something that bothers me too, is like, I don't want to be viewed as someone who is like, if I did identify as conservative, which I don't, if I did, most people will say this guy is a Muslim conservative, therefore like he speaks for, like I don't like Muslims except for Siraj because he's one of us, like I don't want to be like that. That's fucked up. Like, I mean, you have problem with Muslims, but as long as they think like you do, you're cool, right? Like it's a weird way of looking at things.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I've got my Muslims. You know what I mean? Like, you can't call me Islamophobic because I've got my Muslims. Right. But the Prophet Muhammad is a pedophile, and you'll say all those insidious things, or all those derogatory,
inflammatory things. For the Habibis, I think Sneaky Duck was asking, what's the gentleman's Twitter? I'd like to follow him. He's at Dr. Jason Nichols. You can find him on Twitter. Habibis, as always, feel free to follow on Twitch if you aren't following already. I'm trying to add his Twitter handle on here.
I mean,
what's up?
I definitely, I mean, we all do it a little bit.
Which part?
You know what I mean? The little bit of like, I've got my Muslims or my gays or my trans people.
Yeah.
And they absolve me of all the anti-trans or anti-LGBT or anti-Jewish or whatever. I mean, I was talking about this the other day with one of my friends. We were talking about the issue that we've been talking about over and over and over again, which is like anti-Semitism, anti-Black racism, and Black Jewish relations. And, the Nation of Islam and Minister Farrakhan, they have their rabbis that support them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have their Jewish community that supports them.
Yeah. And it's very similar to like the whole Israel-Palestinian debate. It's like the Jewish Voice for Peace are pro-Palestinian Jews. And they're oftentimes a group that is almost the first one to be named by, say, BDS advocates that they're not anti-Semitic because they're aligned to the Jewish Voice for Peace. So, yeah, right. It happens. Almost every single faction has it.
the left does it, the right does it. We all kind of do it, to be honest. And again, this is something I was talking about with, I won't say his name, but let's just say like a very famous cable news host, and I were texting the other day. And
I know who you're talking about.
Humble brag there. No, but you probably know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
He and I were texting, and we were basically saying the same thing about like people like Robin DiAngelo, who wrote a book called White
Cast.
Fragility.
Oh, Fragility. I thought who's the one who did Cast?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. Anyways, go ahead with Robin DiAngelo.
Yeah, so like Robin DiAngelo and like Tim Wise are these like white anti-racism educators.
Oh, it was Isabel Wilkerson who wrote Cast.
And they've become like, they have made anti-racism a hustle for white people, and they get really wealthy off of it. There's something frustrating about that, and I think conservatives oppose them for different reasons than some black people who are like, if there's anybody who should be making bread off of anti-racism, it should be the people who are affected by racism.
Yeah.
And in addition, Robin DiAngelo, like I think it was the Washington Beacon or one of these small like
Washington Free
conservative
Beacon.
Yeah, they did an expose, and they went on her Instagram.
Oh God.
Like, and she doesn't even know any people of color. Like, it was like all these white people in all of her big houses. She charges $20,000 a lecture.
Oh
and
my
like
God.
For
God, now you're gonna get me to look through my Instagram to see how white my Instagram is.
And the thing is, people like me, I do those same workshops occasionally, and they pay me $300. You know what I mean?
They pay you $1,800.
What's that?
They pay you $1,800 for it.
I mean, $1,800 is a good day.
No, I mean that is a good day. I was like, but what, they pay her $20,000 for that shit?
Yeah, people ask, people sit there and they like, I have to haggle, for a couple $100.
Terrible. Just terrible.
And that's the thing is, it goes back to the fact that this is all the reason those people are propped up is because of anti-Black racism and anti-Native American racism and anti-whomever, because people only believe that stuff when it comes from a white person.
Yeah.
And now, to bring this all full circle, I have lots of Black, friends who are like, see, white people need to listen to Tim Wise, and white people need to listen to Beverly D'Angelo. And my point is, white people need to listen to us. Why do they need a white person to say it? Because if that's the case, then that's actually anti-Black racism. That they get to go and repeat the same things that we say, and that we've been writing about, and James Baldwin has been writing about, and for decades, they get to quote those people and then come down $30,000 a lecture off of it.
Yeah, that is something we just like don't ever discuss. It's crazy. I mean, the fact that there's so much money out there, and white people found out a way to sort of monopolize on like the racism industry or the anti-racism industry, and then, as you say, in an ironic twist, basically block out a bunch of Black people from getting that anti-racism cash. Of course, like you got people like Ibram Kendi, who got like a $10 million like grant from Twitter's Jack Dorsey, and make whatever arguments you will about his stances, which I have many issues with, and Nicole Hannah-Jones, who was a director of the 1619 Project, and whatever issues you have with her, that's fine. In the same case with like Robin DiAngelo, I think Isabel Wilkerson is actually black, but you have these people, Tim Wise and Robin DiAngelo getting their cash, getting their cream, they're securing the bag as the kids say nowadays. Um, but like, is that a good? I mean, like obviously, we find the problem in that because they have a platform, it could be obviously deplatforming somebody else as a result because they're, say propagating a message that could easily be elaborated or, illustrated by someone who is a person of color.
Yeah, I think I don't necessarily, look, I'm gonna tell you like this. Look, I'm a black dude, you know, originally from Harlem. I have no problem with anybody's hustle. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Get your bread. But what I do have an issue with is that, they're not saying anything original.
Right.
They are taking what black people and black scholars have said for decades and basically saying, I'm a good white person. You know what I mean? And the thing is, the thing that frustrates me isn't them for the hustle. You know what I mean? It's like a gangster rapper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who talks about black people killing black people all the time. I don't blame them. I blame all of the outlets that propagate that, but won't play a black person that raps about black people loving each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
It's like that. It's like that shit's too corny or something. Like they
that's
only want
corny.
that dark shit.
We want you to kill each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the same thing. I'm not blaming the hustler. I'm kind of blaming the game. I'm blaming the universities and the entities around the country that are willing to pay $30,000 for an hour-long lecture from a white person saying, basically guilting other white people instead of listening to what black people say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Instead, like, if I could get it on that hustle, maybe I'm not as good as Robin DiAngelo. I can accept that. Like I said, it should be based on, the quality of your work. She got her book published. I didn't. It is what it is. Like, I can't get mad at her for that. But I am mad at the game that creates the Robin DiAngelos and creates the Tim Wises and the black people who sit there and say, see, if white people listen to Robin DiAngelo. And I'm like, no, if white people listen to you, they don't need to listen to Robin DiAngelo. They need to listen to you.
And we also ignore the people like the Rachel Dolezals of the world.
Right.
And who was the other professor who got outed as someone who was basically pulling a Rachel
Jessica
Dolezal?
Krug.
Jessica who?
Jessica
Say that one more
Krug.
time. Krug. Okay.
I'm sorry. Jessica Krug
Okay.
is her name.
Yeah. So like you have a bunch of people that are basically faking it, literally faking it until they make it. And Rachel Dolezal, after she was outed as someone who was white, pretending to be black, she got a book published as a result. You have, and then there's always the curious case of Sean King, because no one knows like if he actually is black or not.
Oh, come on, bro.
What?
Like, Sean King is black. He's just a light-skinned black dude. There's a lot you can say about Sean King. No, for real though, Siraj, like there's a lot of bad stuff.
You're right. No, for sure. There's a lot of bad things you can say about Sean King.
The guy is black. Like I don't want to go after him like that.
No,
like,
I get it. I understand.
And if he is white, it's like I think it really is outside of his knowledge. Like I think he really thinks he's black because he doesn't know his father. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So so I don't want to go after him. Like that.
That's fine. We don't have to. We're not going to. But that debate has been out there. But of the people that we have confirmed and we know, the people that have been basically using almost their race to get it. They like because like it is very unless you're like Eddie Murphy, it is very difficult to pull off being a white person if you're black, right? There was that. What was that? It was an SNL sketch where Eddie Murphy went full whiteface, like, and
Yeah.
and like
Oh,
that
classic.
shit is so good. But like, you'll never. It is far easier for someone to go on for a white person to fake the race being black than it is for a black person to fake being white.
See, I agree with that. It's funny because Jessica Krug pretended to be a black Puerto Rican,
Okay,
right?
but that's mixed. I'm talking about like I mean, like we're talking like Eddie Murphy, like going from black to white. I mean.
Um, well, look, there are generations and generations
Again,
of
and
black.
then again, that was a sketch too, so it's not like it was real life. So maybe you are right. Maybe it is
So
easier.
I guess you never read like passing like or heard about black people for generations pretended to be white. That was how they got by. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
no, you're definitely right. You're definitely right. I mean, like there are certain
you can
features
fake
that
being
if
white.
you're yeah, no, I understand. They're probably maybe I'm just looking at it through a very narrow lens right now, but it is something that you know I always wanted to talk about this particular aspect because you mentioned about hip hop earlier. Kind of switching gears right now,
Yeah.
and one of my friends was asking to sort of get into like the intersection of politics and hip hop, and I think it's interesting because I honestly because hip hop is is if not the most listened to genre in the world, one of the most listened to genres. And I feel like politics, by and large, is in today's mainstream hip hop, uh, pretty scarce. Actually, I feel like it was way more political, like back in the '90s and maybe in the early 2000s, and definitely in the '80s. But you're talking about like the crack era, Reaganomics. You have NWA. You have what's his name? You have I don't think Rakim was all that political, but
Oh,
definitely,
and I very
definitely,
political.
huh?
I would say he was very political,
Rakim?
depending on
Well,
depending on
KRS One definitely, Boogie Down Productions, but Rakim. I mean, maybe Rakim didn't strike me as someone who's very political.
yeah. I mean, it depends on what politics you're talking about.
I'm talking
You
about
know?
like the politics in their music.
Yeah, no, I mean, so number one, I would say he was the first person. Well, no, not the first, but he was one of the early people to wrap a lot of the 5% knowledge.
5%
Nah,
Nation, yeah, but that's not.
yeah,
Is that necessary? So, the 5% Nation, for people who are not familiar, that is a sort of an offshoot of. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's sort of like in the middle between like Islam and the Nation of Islam, but it doesn't really subscribe to either. But it uses sort of different terminology, but the essential ethos of the 5% Nation is the view that the black man is God, if I'm not mistaken. I've read up on this stuff. Like I actually am very fascinated by the 5% Nation. This is like sort of, this is like a very hip hop subculture right here. But you have like people like members of the Wu-Tang Clan. You have Rakim. Rakim is obviously probably one of the most famous 5%ers. But they would use a term like Allah. They would use a term like they would use a bunch of other Arabic words. But Allah means everything like had a certain definition. You have supreme mathematics, the supreme alphabet. Each letter and each number had a different meaning. You had even the term Allah, ALLAH, arm, leg, arm, head. That is to sort of signify that man is God, or in particular, the black man is God. And like 85% of the people are deaf, dumb, and blind. 10% of the people are, I guess,
they
uh,
leave the deaf, dumb, and blind.
huh?
They exploit the deaf, dumb, and blind.
Exploit, and then the 5% are the ones who are like truly aware, the woke, I guess,
They're the poor, righteous teachers.
poor righteous
You know?
teachers. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, do you think that was more of a political or a religious movement?
I don't think of it as religious. It depends. It's a little bit of both.
Because I think of it as like sort of an empowerment movement.
Yeah.
It is more about lifting oneself up.
And what's funny is like, because I was into I used to study the lessons. I used to study 120 and all of that
Mm-hmm.
in high school. And the thing is, and it's funny because I built with like, you know, white gods or guys who thought they were God.
Really?
God. Yeah, like dudes, who because eventually it started out as the black man is God.
Mm-hmm.
The black man is the original man, But then it became, like they're not black, that, it's all about, the righteous men and what they call devilish men.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So a righteous man can be of any color. You know what I mean?
Right.
A righteous man can be black, he can be white, he can be Chinese. I built with I know a Chinese god out in the
So, do you? I mean, like you were studying 120. 120 is what the 120.
the book of life. It's got like
okay.
The lessons in it.
So,
And
if you were to explain to someone who had no idea what 5% is, how would you say it in like an elevator pitch?
I would say it's more of a fraternal order.
Mm-hmm.
So I would look at it like like the Masons, or you know what I mean? Like I would look at it like more like
Freemasons. Ah, that's a very good that's a very good analogy.
I wouldn't look at it like a religion, like Christianity or Islam. Like I would look at it more like Freemasonry. And it started out, of course, it came from, Clarence 13X,
Right.
who later on started calling himself Allah, and his best friend or his right hand man Justice, and the whole thing was he had his own interpretation for the Nation of Islam's lesson, and that's what got him kicked out. But he was a street dude, you know what I mean? Like he liked to gamble, he liked to drink, he liked to do things that the nation was not going to tolerate.
Interesting.
The nation guys, I understand some of their stuff is kind of, different, I'll just say. But, like if it weren't for their different beliefs, I mean, they're the kind of guys, upstanding, manly men, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
protectors, providers, builders.
The kind of guys you'd want
Hunters.
to marry your daughter. Like if they didn't have the beliefs part.
Yeah.
Like, they don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't swear. You know what I mean? Like,
are you talking about 5%ers?
No. 5%ers do all that. And that's
that's
point.
what I thought.
I'm saying that I'm talking about the nation.
Oh, nation. Oh, okay.
But Allah wasn't, or Clarence 13X wasn't, he was too street for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he altered the Nation of Islam lessons and teachings and beliefs in a way where it's like, I'm God, so God has the power to build and destroy.
Mm-hmm.
So I can build what we're doing right now by elevating one another's consciousness when we're speaking about different issues. We're building.
Yeah.
But if we were to go to the bar later and drink and get in a fight at the bar, we're destroying. You know what I mean? As gods, we have that, God's little g. There is God, big G.
Right.
But as gods, we have the ability and power to build and destroy.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of your Habibis are like, what the
Yeah, no, this is one of the things I don't get to talk about very often. So I love that we're getting a chance to finally talk about it, because it is it's one of those areas I've always been very fascinated and like talking about, but like there's no one who like understands what the fuck I'm talking about, Because
Well,
obviously, like for people who are like, say for example, if you're a very big fan of Wu-Tang Clan, there's a good chance you've heard in their lyrics about elements of the 5% nation. You know, studying 120. You know, calling each other God. Um, I mean, the fact that like RZA and Jizza, their names are derived. You know, they're derived from the supreme alphabet. You have RZA, ruler, zigzag, zigala, and then Jizza, God, zigzag, zigala. Zigzag, zig. What is that? Like the beginning,
you
middle,
know,
end?
what's that?
I'm trying to recall what zigzag, zig stands for in supreme alphabet, but like every single letter has a meaning, and every single number has a meaning. So like, if it's the number 7 transcribes to the 7th letter of the alphabet, which is G. So like, if it's 7 o'clock, they would call it the God hour, right?
Right.
Yeah. So like, it's all like everything is like sort of interrelated. And if you ever listen to say like, you know, even Raekwon, the chef's only built for Cuban links, you hear like all these different elements. And I think that.
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
the question was like, for example, like everybody knows the song "Knowledge God," one of my favorite songs
Right.
actually. That question, what's today's mathematics? A lot of dudes in New York to walk around fronting like they were God body, fronting like they were 5%ers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were walking around fronting, dudes would test you.
Right, on 120.
Yeah, and they'd be like, yo, what's today's mathematics? That was the quick question. And if you didn't know that, they would beat your ass right there. Beat up. Like, I know a lot of dudes. One of my boys was like, yo, when he got out of jail, you couldn't be like, yo, God, peace, this, that. Like dudes will beat your ass, like straight up.
Yeah.
There's actually a scene of that if anybody's watched the Wu-Tang TV show, which is really good, by the way.
Hold on. Why is this? What was it actually called? What is the name of the show?
I think it's called Wu-Tang Saga or something
Wu-Tang
like
Saga?
that.
Let's look it up because
It's really good. And
Wu-Tang in America, an American Saga.
Yeah, so there's
I don't
like
think I've seen that.
a scene where RZA like gets checked. Like he walks, he's calling himself Prince Rakeem and all of that.
Right.
He just made up that name. And somebody came up to him like, yo, what's today's mathematics, God? You know what I mean? And they were about to bust his ass right there. And Jizza came along and saved him. You know what I mean? Like,
amazing.
Oh, yo, today's the 15th. That's knowledge power. And then build it on knowledge power. And he wasn't, he was like, yo, you can't be going around fronting. Like, dudes will bust your ass.
Amazing.
Like, they took it real seriously. My uncle, before he went into the military, so Allah started a school in Harlem. My uncle went to that school.
Really?
Yeah, where they like basically study 120 all day.
Wow. I had no idea you were into studying 120 and all that. That's crazy.
Well, I'm not. I wasn't into it that deep. You know what? A lot of gods didn't like me because, again, I'm contrarian, number one. So and I believe it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be like, so
you would ask questions.
Like, I'm like, English isn't an ancient language, so how am I supposed to believe that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And Allah isn't an English word. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just sensible questions.
Right.
People get angry when you question it. So I was never built for like being a real, 5%er.
You weren't cut out. You weren't cut out. You were more of you're in the 10%.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm.
I mean, I know we kind of got into like a very like sort of deep discussion there, but I think that's sort of like I think you good? You good?
Yeah, no. Get my charger here.
Oh, there you go. I feel like there are a lot of people that sort of based a lot of their politics on sort of the inner city uh, raps of like, oh, you want to go with like Notorious B.I.G., Jay-Z, Nas, Wu-Tang Clan. If you go out the West Coast, you got Tupac, and go up the coast, you got E40. Um, you have Outkast in the South. You got UGK in Houston. A number of a number of different acts throughout the country, bubbling up in the '90s, and a lot of it, it may have felt more about like the experience of living and growing up in a lot of these poor, neighborhoods that were neglected by, the political establishment, and only in like the last, say, I don't know, maybe through like the power of the internet, people started to, and the power of media, whether they were watching on streaming services or they were simply googling this stuff up. Um, but these are parts of the country that were largely ignored, and I think hip hop in a way um, really was the driving force in bringing that to a lot of people's consciousness, or at least America's consciousness, that there are a lot of areas in our country that were neglected by our leaders, and families and people struggling were just not given the help. And it's sad that we're seeing, like, just in this year with COVID, with, say, schools being shut down. And obviously you probably know better than I do because you're a parent. Um, and obviously thinking about schools being open. Obviously, like, it doesn't take a study to help you understand that people who are going to be most affected by uh, the pandemic, or particularly children, are going to be poor children. They're going to be Black and Hispanics, and NBC basically confirmed that in a study released within like the last month when they were reporting it.
Yeah,
So,
no, absolutely.
and so, like, this sort of all comes like full circle. And so, like, I'm interested to see like what ends up happening. We got a vaccine, we got at least a little bit of hope that we could finally get this under control. Um, but think about like how this would change the culture going forward. Like, how is this going to change America, and what kind of, like, you think about like every, like, huge event that ever took place in the course of our lives, whether you have 9/11, whether you have um you know going into Iraq or Afghanistan, or you have, say, the election of a certain president, whether it be Obama, whether it be Trump, whether it be Bush or Clinton. It's something that is like a key event in the lives of everyone, that sort of changes how they view the world. How do
Hmm.
you think how do you think COVID is going to change people's perspective of the world? I know it's a loaded question.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think you know the election of the last two presidents has definitely changed the way a lot of people see the world and see one another and see their neighbors and see their institutions. Um, I think COVID is going to change, at least in the short term, how we value certain freedoms that we have,
Hmm.
and certain, the ability to go out and do what we do. And, I think we're going to value, in the short term, we're going to value being able to go to a concert or go to a nightclub or go, to a bar. We're going to value that
Or even
differently.
traveling.
Traveling,
Holy
sitting on a
shit.
plane next to a stranger, you know. So there's a lot of stuff that I think we are going to look at differently. I also think culturally, I don't think masks are fully going away. I think people are going to wear masks. You know,
It's just going to be a part of life.
yeah, it's going to be a part of life. Like, in Asia, masks aren't as rare as they are here.
I know.
Like,
You got that.
people put on masks pre-pandemic, like
Yeah,
they,
pre-pandemic. Yeah, I mean, you can go and check it like any footage of like say in Beijing, pre-COVID, people were wearing masks, and that was mostly because of the pollution.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna get that. Some people aren't gonna put the masks down.
Yeah,
I think it will be, there will be some politics attached to it.
yeah.
I think people.
It's almost like it's I'm not gonna say it. Well, we'll see what happens because like I can imagine the politicization of wearing masks. I feel like more left leaning people would be wearing masks than right leaning, and that's just like the case. That's just like been the case over COVID. But like even after, say we've gotten the pandemic under control, that say like they make a declaration that the pandemic is over. Most of the population has been vaccinated. Cases are down to very minimal levels. You get people wearing masks still. That's gonna like out them like, oh, I know that person's a lib. You could tell they're wearing a mask. How else could you judge a person if they're wearing a mask after the pandemic? That'd be one way.
I mean, I think there's gonna be definitely changes. I think movie theaters and the way we conceptualize movies are going to be different because
Yeah,
now they have a whole thing where movies that are produced by, I can't remember whether it's Universal or
I think Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers is gonna also release it on HBO Max.
Crazy. I think AMC is super pissed off about that.
Yeah, like some of the directors are mad about it.
And
So
I mean, it's interesting because yeah, that's that. I mean, I would like to go back to a movie theater post COVID, but I will say this: I didn't really go to the whole movies pre-COVID either. Like I waited because I like watching movies at home in the comfort of my own home better.
I mean, I liked, it was an easy, quick date night for me and my wife.
Right.
We could just, go to dinner, go to a movie, come home.
Hell yeah.
Dinner
So
like,
I mean, it's gonna come back. I think theaters will like come back with a vengeance because, as you just said, great date option. It's not like dating will go away after the pandemic. That's gonna come back. People are gonna get their fuck on. You just know.
well, I think there's gonna be virtual. I think there's gonna be some virtual, like parties. You know what I mean? You're gonna have.
I don't see that. I mean, like, if there are going to be parties thrown, like, people are going to get together. Like, people are having parties even in the middle of a pandemic. It's just going to be a matter of, like, how many people are going to be there versus, being between the house being, like, overflowing versus the house just being full,
Yeah, no, I feel you. And I want to say one last thing about the 5%ers.
Yes, let's hear it.
And one of the reasons why it was such a powerful movement, first of all, it shows the power of hip hop because so many people got interested in it. It was just a little, like, at least from my perspective, it was a relatively small New York based thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Go to Baltimore and find people who are 5%ers. You know what I mean? That was a New York. It got spread two ways, through hip hop and the drug trade. Those were the two that it spread. Seriously, like, everybody knows the Supreme team from Queens. You know what I mean? Like, and people like that were moving drugs up and down 95. It spread that way. But a lot of it was hip hop. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, people got interested in it. And I really think it was one word. The power of, and this is especially for Black men, the power of calling and being addressed as God. Mm-hmm. Now, we're talking about Black men who are arguably some of the most denigrated people in American history. And think about how empowering it is. Our grandfathers got called boy or nigger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get called nigger regularly because I go on conservative media. You know, because I go on Fox News and Newsmax and all that. But imagine how empowering it is when somebody comes up to you and says, "Yo, peace, God," and calls you God.
Yeah.
You call that person God back, and you recognize the divinity in them. You know what I mean? That's a powerful thing for Black men who are denigrated through prison, through, you know, we go to schools and we get suspended and, you know, and treated badly, and arrested and all those kinds of things. And, you know, that was a really empowering statement. You know what I mean? For
Oh, no
somebody to
doubt.
be able to say, I'm God. You know what I mean? And then you gave yourselves names like, you know,
Allah,
Supreme
justice.
Allah. Yeah, you know, peace, justice, supreme Allah, you know, this, that. And you know, since I don't study, you know, the lessons anymore and I'm not into that anymore, you know, but still, you know, when I go up to a Black man and I'm like, yo, peace, king, when I'm calling them king,
Right.
you know what I mean? That's empowering.
Yeah, and you could actually. What's interesting in the term, you know, maybe not God has taken a mainstream term, but the term king, I use that term a lot now, more often when like, you know, like when I wish like somebody happy birthday, I'm like happy birthday, king, like that.
Yeah, it's like it's an empowering thing for Black people, you know, and especially for, you know, you got to remember, like, we named our kids back in the day, like, because Black people were so denigrated, they would name their kids Mister.
Hmm,
Like, that's a common name in the South. Why? Because parents wanted you to address their kids with respect. So
interesting.
anytime you said that person's name, you'd be like Mr. Johnson. You know,
Interesting.
because nobody called that person Mr. Johnson.
I
So they really made
never.
it their first name.
I have never heard of that. That's
Oh, it's a
great.
common old school Southern name is Mister, or another one like King, or they would name themselves after presidents like Roosevelt or Lincoln.
I do know about Roosevelt, Lincoln. That's no, I mean like those are legit names. I mean it's not like
Yeah,
those are
but
good names. Yeah.
yeah, but for African Americans, it was like about name or naming your kid Prince or King. It was about giving them the respect that society never gave them. So anytime you said their name, even if you were a police officer,
Hmm.
you know, and you were like, you know, King Wilson, you know what I mean? Like you were addressing them with proper respect that society usually doesn't give to Black people.
Interesting.
So now, you know, fast forward when you get to the 5%ers, how powerful it was to listen to these records, these hip hop records, and hear Black men addressing each other as gods. You know what I mean? It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The teacher called you a fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like Big said, you know, I grew up a fucking screw up. That's the way
Right.
we were made to feel. You know, and my even in my very middle class background. I went to private school. I was still made to feel like, you know, you ain't ever gonna be shit. You know what I mean? Like that's why I love when I know my teachers who are all right wing nuts. When they watch TV and they see me, I know they're like, that motherfucker. That motherfucker made it.
you know, Doc, Doctor God.
Thank
They
God.
they say that the sweetest revenge is success. So you're
Right,
fucking killing it, man.
right.
By the way, before we go, you're currently producing a show right now that I want to make sure the Habibis are put onto because you've said it, we've discussed it before, but like, how's that going? What's sort of like the vision you have for it?
Well, you know, the way I really wanted it to be about small town middle America. Um, it's a you know a TV show that deals with like small town politics
Okay.
in middle America.
What's the name of it
Uh,
again?
It's called Life and Justice.
Life and Justice. That's right. I knew Justice was in there.
Double entendre there. And, like, it's been going really well. It's hard when you have a cast and you're not able to compensate them the way you would like.
Yeah.
But everybody's really been a trooper, and I really hope people watch it and enjoy it. That's the big thing.
Where's the where can people check it out?
Well, it's not out yet. But,
it's not out yet.
It's not out yet. But
Okay.
the interesting thing is, like, I remember watching Power, the 50 Cent show.
Right. 50 Cent, the Trump supporter?
Yeah, right. But when you listen to, like, the theme song in Power, the first couple words are, "This is a big, rich town." And I was thinking, man, like, what about all of the Americans who don't live in big, rich towns?
Mm-hmm.
They got politics. They got, issues. They got drugs and murder and love and all of the issues that you get in New York City. Why are we focusing everything on them?
Yeah.
Why does every show have to be in New York or LA? Like, what's it like in small town Ohio? What's it like in small town West Virginia? What's it like in small town Pennsylvania?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are interested in that and seeing what politics and life and everything is for a really diverse cast, we got white people, we got black people. We couldn't get any Arabs, so we got some Latinos to play like they're Arab.
Look, even if you cast me to be an Arab, I could not play an Arab.
I was casting you to play an Italian.
I know.
It was gonna be you, and then it was gonna be Max Telwe, and both of y'all let me down. So.
I'm sorry, man. We're just so busy.
Right. Nah, I feel it, and but and it's we film far away. Obviously, we're talking. DC is a big, rich town.
Yeah.
So obviously, we film out in Middle America, and that's a lot for a lot of people, especially when they're not being compensated really well. So.
But it's a good. I mean, it's a good opportunity to find some talent and find people who are like particularly trying to get into the industry, and this is like their ticket.
Right. Yeah. No. Definitely. And I'm hoping it just needs viewers. So.
Hey man, just keep on keeping on, and don't stop promoting that shit too.
Yeah. No. I'm gonna promote the hell out of it. Follow us on Instagram. It's Lenora's Dream Films. So I'm gonna.
Yeah. Here, let me type it in for the comments. Lenora, L-A or L-E?
I'm texting it to you right now.
Text it to me right now. Perfect.
Well, I'll put it on the. Films. Plural.
Films plural. Yeah,
you see it? I put it in the whatchamacallit chat.
Discord. Got it. Lenora's Dream Films. Boom. All right, Habibis, you go check it out on Instagram, and then also you can follow Dr. Jason Nichols on Twitter at Dr. Jason Nichols. I put it in the chat earlier, but it's Dr. Jason Nichols. As always, Habibis, follow us on Twitter. Check us out on why us? I meant me. Follow. You can follow me on Twitter. Yeah. Who? So Smarty Pants asked, who is Lenora?
So Lenora was my mother. She passed away, and I know she loved films. She loved movies. So I know that having films and having a film company would definitely be a dream for her.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, I will definitely follow it on Instagram and promote your shit, because I want to see my King God succeed.
Well, one of these days you're gonna have to play a role.
One of these days.
You're really busy right now, but when the time comes,
yes,
yeah,
you'll
have to play Roll with it.
Well, we'll make something happen. I'm sure of it, and we'll get together again on the stream when things sort of calm down, because yeah, both you and I are just so spread thin. You got any big plans for the holidays? Your wife, and your mother-in-law, they celebrate Christmas, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Nice.
we're I got Christmas trees all over the crib.
Hell yeah.
We're all excited for Christmas. Does your household?
Yeah. So the funny thing is yes. So I'm with my in-laws, and they love Christmas. They're Jews, but my mother-in-law, she converted from Catholicism, but she still celebrates Christmas every year. Obviously, they celebrate Hanukkah. Tonight is the sixth night of Hanukkah, and so 2 more nights, and we've been celebrating them. I mean, of course, it's been on and off, but uh, Christmas is look. I had never really celebrated Christmas in full until my wife and I got together, and I had started living in DC. Like, they go all out. They do like Christmas Eve stuff. They do Christmas Day stuff. I get presents. I feel like an imposter because I feel like I just don't deserve it. I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing to deserve this. And yeah, they constantly like I take part in the gift giving as well. Like, I give gifts to, my in-laws as well, and to my wife, and it's, a hassle sometimes because uh every year, like, you're trying to one up yourself. How do you do it? It sucks. It's just the worst thing ever. But I think it's gonna be. I'm excited to sort of just, you know take some time off, reflect on the year that was, and hopefully, just decompress and get ready to kick ass next year.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I feel the same way. And I'll tell you, I'm excited. My family actually headed up to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a couple days to kind of chill at the crib, drink right out of the carton, do
Hell
all
yeah.
that.
Wait, so the whole fam went up to Boston?
Yeah, the whole family. It's just me here. And then,
Are you going up too?
no, they're coming. They're staying there until like a couple days from now. And then
Okay.
they're going to back down, and some other family members are going to follow them. So
Oh, okay.
then my
Well,
house gets even more full.
hell yeah.
So
Well,
right now, I'm definitely going to enjoy this.
yeah, enjoy. I mean, this has been fun. I think there was Dan from last night. That's his actual handle. Not he's not he wasn't actually here last night. But he says, "Hire me. I'm a real hummus Arab." Hey man, if you're in the DC metro area, let me know. I know Jason's on Discord, although he doesn't really know how to use it because he's a boomer. But it's okay. He actually, Jason's more boomer than I am, and everyone calls me a boomer. So
I'm totally boomer.
it's all good, man. Well,
I'm boomer Hyacinth.
well,
Oh, speaking of quarterbacks, just really quickly,
oh hell yeah! What are we talking about?
I'm going to leave on this point. All right,
Let's hear it.
this brings it all full circle.
Hell yeah, let's hear it.
Kelly Loeffler and Trevor Lawrence. You've never seen them in the same place at the same time.
Why do I feel like I have heard this before?
I think Kelly Loeffler,
And
is
Trevor Lawrence.
classy, and
Trevor Lawrence is actually running
Trevor
for Senate.
Lawrence is Superman. I think they're the same person.
That is mind blowing.
Pretty sure they're the same person.
By the
Kelly
way,
Loeffler.
did Lamar Jackson take a shit last night at the Browns game? Did he take the Browns to the Super Bowl?
What's that?
Did Lamar Jackson in the Ravens Browns game on Monday night? He was rushing off the field and into the locker room. Did he take a shit? Did you not see the chatter about this?
Shit all over the Browns. I know that.
I feel like everyone's like he 100% took a shit.
I don't know why I root against Baker Mayfield, but I just something about that guy. I root against Baker Mayfield.
The Browns really needed that game. And it's funny because I'm a Patriots fan and we're definitely out of playoff contention, but like I still feel bad for the Browns. I don't know why.
They're like 9-4. Like
I think they're
9-4.
Are they really 9-4? Oh yeah, they are 9-4. Yeah, but I still feel bad for them. They are a not good. Like I feel like AFC North is just a wash. Like the Steelers suck, the Browns suck, the Ravens are inconsistent. I don't think any of the teams from the AFC North are getting to the Super Bowl. I'm just gonna say it right now.
So who do you think is gonna go to the Super Bowl?
Chiefs.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Chiefs. I think it's gonna be a repeat Chiefs-Titans AFC Championship. Well, I think it's gonna be I think it'll be a little bit closer, but I think Chiefs are gonna go to the Super Bowl again. And I think in the NFC, I think it's gonna be the Packers.
I wonder how long Derrick Henry runs like that.
Dude, the guy's unstoppable. It is when the Patriots were playing the Titans in the first round last year, in the wild card round, I was like, nah, there's no way the Pats are winning this game. Derrick Henry is just a fucking nightmare. The guy will bulldoze everyone, and he's fucking fast.
Yeah, he's fast. That's the thing. And like he'll just like mush you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Derrick Henry. Have you ever seen clips of him playing in high school?
Yeah. Oh no, I don't think I've seen him play in high school, but it's like the combination of him plus they got AJ Brown now, and AJ is a fucking beast. Like Tannehill is decent, but he just has such a great supporting cast around him, and he's got a great coach in Mike Vrabel.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, Tannehill is the most fortunate quarterback since all the quarterbacks who played with Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Like, like he's just so fortunate, and he's a decent. He'll get the job done.
Yeah. What do you think about Buffalo or Tampa Bay or New Orleans? I mean, the thing is, I don't know if I trust Tampa Bay. Not because of Tom Brady. Look, I would never bet against Tom Brady until maybe now, because like he's on a new team, he has a new cast of characters that. Oh, I don't know if you could see this, but this is a video of Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna send it to you in the Discord chat. This is literally him running, because it is absolutely hilarious. Just look at him run. I just sent it to you. Watch that right now. And I'm having it repeat here.
Questionable. The backup, Trace McSorley, was over here warming up. He is now in the questionable. The backup, Trace McSorley, was over here warming up. He is now in.
Yeah.
No, he totally had the boo-boo there.
Yeah, he totally had a number two.
Yeah.
By the way, the Washington football team, very surprised about them. Chase Young, balling out as a rookie. Defensive end reminds you of actually, you know what? He doesn't remind me of anyone. He's just a really good player and unique and in his own right. I can't, it's kind of tough because he's just fucking good. But,
yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, like, look, for someone who is going to be who doesn't have any dog in the fight, I just hope the Steelers don't win the Super Bowl. That is the only thing I hope for, because them winning their seventh ring, can't have it. No, fuck that. Fuck Pittsburgh and the Steelers. I said it, and Big Ben.
Yeah, no, I'm not I think Ben is my least favorite player in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't like Baker Mayfield, but I don't hate him either. I just root against him whenever he plays. But Ben, I literally don't like that guy. It's just I just don't like that.
Hate him.
There's nothing to like about him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least with Baker Mayfield, you're like, well, he seems like a cool character.
Yeah.
He, when he hit the, I don't know, he was hitting the name there or some dance.
Nah, he's just he was like hitting like that, and then I think he hit. He can dance at least. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he can dance. Like Ben Roethlisberger is he's fat.
Yeah.
There's just nothing to like about that guy.
Nothing.
And
no redeemable qualities.
And Jim LeKay has some stories about Roethlisberger too that are pretty interesting.
Oh, I got to talk to him about that. Oh, it was the whip.
Yeah.
It was Baker Mayfield hit the whip. That was that was it. So good on him.
Travis Kelce hits the Quan.
That's right.
I don't.
Oh.
I like Travis Kelce is like, I hate to say it, but he's like a black guy's white guy. Like he's like the white guy that every black guy likes hanging out with.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And
he's the white guy that all the black girls thirst for.
Totally, which makes you hate on him a little bit.
A little bit more, yeah.
Totally the white guy with the fade that all the like.
I mean, he does basically have a fade.
Yeah, he goes to the black barber shop. You know what I'm saying? He wears some, trendy black clothes. And he's a cool dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are white dudes. There's always that white guy that's like, man, I want to hate you, but you're actually like a cool ass dude.
Yeah, Dan thinks that he had a man bun. I don't think he has a man bun.
I think he did at one point, maybe. Yeah. And then, probably his teammates were like, yo, you a cool dude. Cut that shit off. And,
he doesn't strike me as someone who would have rocked a man bun for very long. But, I mean, we'll see. I mean, he has, to his credit, at least he's very good at football. I don't think he could pull that off without being a very good tight end.
Yeah, I think I'm going to quote you on the Travis Kelce is the black guy, as the white guy that black girls thirst over.
It's true. You don't even need to quote me on that. That is that's a fact.
No, it's a fact. It's major facts. You know what I'm saying? And, it's like, but again, you want to hate, like as a black guy, you want to hate on that guy.
Hold on. Can I just say, for me, as a black man, I hate Travis Kelce.
Somebody said that?
No, I'm saying for me, as a black man. Me, Siraj Hashmi, a black man.
No, let me tell you.
Oh, man. All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun, Habibis. I know it's just sort of put together sort of last minute, as I mentioned before, in the very beginning of this. I was so run down last week, we couldn't record. All of my basically on-camera work went to shit. But I'm back, and then next week I'm off again. So, Dr. Jason Nichols, again, thanks so much for being a part of the stream. You can find him on Twitter at Dr. Jason Nichols. Find his studio on Instagram. It's Lenora Film. Lenora's. Is it Lenora's or Lenora? Oh, it's Lenora's Dream Films on Instagram. That's LENORA '(S) Dream Films. And this has been The Balance, Habibis. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah to all those celebrating, Happy Kwanzaa to all those celebrating, and we will see you guys hopefully in 2021. Peace out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See you soon, Habibis. Have a good night.